Welcome, Internet, to the PixelPlay Sidequest, your weekly bonus episode that we post every Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, exclusively on YouTube.com. If this is your first time finding us, welcome. Please hit that like and subscribe, and you can catch our podcast every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you want the full podcast. And we also do it wherever you get your podcasts, so check it out there. This week, guys, we've got some bad news. Xbox Game Pass is getting some major changes. But to be honest, it's not for the better for us. So I'm just going to take this from Jez Corden's article on windowscentral.com. I'm just going to go through the bullet points that he has, and we can kind of talk about it. So he writes, soon Xbox Game Pass for console will be shuttered for new users only. Users currently on Xbox Game Pass for console will be allowed to maintain their subscriptions, as well as day one games and the hundreds of titles in the back catalog. New users on Xbox Game Pass in the near future will be greeted by a new Xbox Game Pass standard. This is more like EA Access, which includes Xbox back catalog and doesn't include day one games. This will be priced at $14.99 per month and will include Xbox Live Gold for multiplayer, now known as Game Pass Core, confusingly. It doesn't include Xbox Cloud Gaming. Game Pass Standard is supposedly launching in September. From September 12th, 2024, Microsoft will only allow users to stack Xbox Game Pass for console users for up to 13 months, using prepaid cards and the like, which will continue to function. If you have more than 13 months stacked already, you won't be impacted. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate will not be changed. It will get a price increase, though. It will still include PC Game Pass, day one games, and hundreds of back catalog titles, as well as cloud gaming. But it's getting a price increase. The new price will be $19.99 per month. PC Game Pass is also getting a price increase from $9.99 per month to $11.99. PC Game Pass will also continue to get day one games. And Xbox Game Pass Core, Xbox Live Gold Multiplayer, gets an annual price increase to $74.99 from $59.99, but it will remain $9.99 per month. The prices increases are global, and for users with recurring billing, the new prices will take effect on September 12th, giving you time to cancel if you don't fancy it. So with that, guys, 1, are we surprised? 2, is this still a good value? Like, what do we think of this? Like,
I have to admit, the price increase part where things didn't change, but the price went up like $2 a month. That part doesn't surprise me. I assumed that was coming. We all kind of knew like there's no way they're making enough money on this, and it's definitely like the whole Uber or skip the dishes or whatever you want to consider. Like they give you this service, it's cheap. You use it, you're like, wow, I can never live without it. And then they raise the price slowly until it's actually profitable. I am assuming that's what Microsoft has been doing this whole time. So the price increase, not surprising, sucks, but not like, oh wow, Pikachu shock faced. No, I'm not. There's no shock there. But the whole getting rid of the console one and instead bringing in another tier that's like not day one releases, that to me, I was not expecting. And I'm a little shocked on, just because it seemed like they had their core for just like online, and I think you got like 20 games. I think that's staying, you said. And then they had PC, console, or Ultimate, which was like both, plus cloud. So I am surprised that the console one's going away and they're introducing this non-day one release tier. Like, I don't understand what that tier is for. I don't know who that's for.
What are you buying Game Pass for then?
Yeah.
Like, it's basically saying, hey, do you want to play indie games? And we're like, sort of.
And not new indie games, old indie games, because it's not day one.
Well, what are they or I thought they were saying day one. Are they are they assuming that it's like their first party day ones, or is it just
that's a good question.
I read it as day one games will only be on Ultimate, and it's going to be kind of like PlayStation Plus, whatever the stupid titles are, where it's like, hey, we'll put some old games on there. Like, it'll be very much like what PlayStation does, where, hey, 3 years later, we'll put like Horizon Forbidden West on there once it's $20 in the bargain bin.
I would hope that for some game, like I imagine, like if there's going to be day one, like I can't see them pulling literally every day one game, but I assume that if it's any games that they're put on the system that is like a high budget game, that they wouldn't, that would be part of that same thing. I mean, we know first party games for sure. That's on this other tier.
Yeah.
For anything outside of that, I feel like that would be more like a communicated thing, like that maybe they could just say, hey, do you care if this goes on this? I imagine like some indie devs would be kind of pissed off by that. They'd be like, no, we want as many eyes on this as we could. Like,
yeah. They don't just want it on Ultimate. Yeah, because if you take like Iodine Chronicles or whatever, like Adam, that you and I, well, you've played through and I'm just kind of playing now. I think that was a day one release on Game Pass, but it's not a first party game. And like, is that being removed? Because that's the kind of like very gray area where it's like, it wouldn't make sense to me if that was removed. Because then really, what are you paying for with this other tier? And how would they manage that? Like an indie developer puts it on there. At what point it sits on Game Pass usually for a year? At what point during that year does it then become available on that other tier?
Because then the
It's
ultimate
gonna be
question is
sitting there.
how desolate's going to be that tier if anything that's released there day one is not on it.
Yeah. Like, is there a 3-month window and then it gets bumped over? Like,
Because either that
at
you're
what
basically
point?
subscribing to play Forza Horizon again and again and again because all that's on there is the stuff that's been always on there for like how many years.
Yeah.
Which isn't, to be honest, isn't much of a service. That's the point where I go, I'd almost want to say, hey, why don't you just only have this expensive tier and just say, hey, like if you want this, pay for it.
That's the thing that I'm getting. Like, I'm with Chris that I'm kind of pissed at this. Like, I've got an Xbox. I don't have a gaming PC. Like, the gaming PC I have is from like 2014. I'm not playing Game Pass on it. All I want is I just want to have Xbox games day one on my console. I don't need cloud streaming because I'm not going to play anything on the cloud. I've tried it with my phone. It runs like garbage. I've tried, like, I'm not going to be playing on PC. Like, I just wanted that. Hey, I've got an Xbox and I've got my Game Pass where that's how I get my new games. It gets to the point where it's like, why don't I just wait and I'll just buy the games when they come out on disc or whatever? Like, I've got a disc drive. I think it's disingenuous. Like, it's cutting off a whole audience that maybe is getting into Xbox because, hey, they're starting to show promise with games. And now it's like, oh, by the way, you now need to pay for the super pricey one and buy things that you don't need. Like I said, I don't need cloud. I don't need cross save. I don't need like
PC.
any of that.
And you could also make the argument that it's kind of bullshit that they're taking this away from the console users, considering that they gave you the most money off the bat to own your console, because they might not, like, the parts they bought for their PC are not Microsoft. So like,
No.
I can understand if, oh, we're going to charge more for PC users because, hey, you didn't give us any money to play our first party titles. You should be paying a little bit more of a premium for that because we're also porting this onto PC for you. Whereas if you get an Xbox, you get this cheaper price for the. This seems like it's just like, again, we've been talking about this for a while. It seems like Xbox just really doesn't want to be in the console game anymore because they're doing whatever they can to just kind of alienate that player base.
Yeah, you're totally right. The person that's getting hurt the most is the Xbox console owner, right?
Yeah, the sole console, like no PC, no anything else. Just like, oh, you own an Xbox? Sorry. Yeah, like that's so weird because. Yeah, what the heck? Like, again, if this was just across the board, hey, Game Pass, all tiers are going up $2.
Right.
Cool. Like, it sucks, but
they're showing
no one's
games
shocked.
like.
I'm even at the point where it's just like, okay, fine, screw it. Like I said, get rid of the other tier and just say, here it is. Here is the one fucking one we have. You want all of this? You pay for all of it. And just deal with it. I would rather they just do that instead of this convoluted bullshit. Because it brings that conversation of like, as you as an owner, like, all you want to do is play games. And now what they're doing is throwing another fucking wrench into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, originally, I wasn't that upset with this. And now the more and more I think about it, the more I'm stewing over it. I'm like, no, this is some really dumbass shit.
Yeah. It's the removal of a full tier that I'm not okay with.
That is your primary, like supporter, right? That's your console buy, and you're saying, fuck you. Go get a gaming PC.
And they literally just said, like, not too long ago, oh, don't worry, we're going to be doing more stuff for you guys. Also, we're taking stuff away from you a month later, but we're not going to tell that part.
Yeah, now that the games are starting to come out, by the way, prices are up and you get less options. Like, I look at it, and so the new Game Pass Ultimate price, because they have a list of every country, and we're in Canada, so let's go with Canadian option. It's now $23 a month for Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah.
Assuming we get, let's say, one game every 3 months from Xbox, you're basically now paying the same price. Like, if you're going to buy every single Xbox exclusive every 3 months, it's the same price as Game Pass Ultimate. And like, no offense, I don't use Game Pass Ultimate. That I'm on the fence. Like, what do I do? Like, this makes more sense that I just play on PlayStation, which is my preferred console, and I just come and buy the Xbox exclusives the few times that they come out that are actually worthwhile.
I will say it's now at the point that I'm actually considering that I might have to start paying attention to what's on the docket and just removing my membership monthly until I see a month where there's a point to hammering out a couple.
Yeah.
Because it's now at a point where, like, I'm not saying that $23 a month is a lot, but also when I'm not using it as much now as I used to, it's now becoming a case of, okay, like, what did I'm trying to even think of what I've played in the last month on this console. I think it might just be Little Kitty Big City and Aiden Chronicle, which, yeah, but let's say if in the last 30 days, because I can't even remember how long it's been since I finished Aiden Chronicle now. I think it might actually have been more than 30 days. So if in the last 30 days, all I've played is an indie game that took me 4 hours to beat, that's not worth $23.
No, I'm pretty sure that game, you could have just bought it on, say, PC or whatever for $23. Like, I think that
and now people say, well, look at all the other stuff that came on there. I'm like, well, I didn't play it. So that's, and it's the same thing too that I get mad about when people say every month with PlayStation Extra or the free games that they put out, it's like, oh, I don't care about any of this. Then fucking don't get the subscription. And in my case, now that's the point that Xbox is now priced high enough that I go, maybe I don't need this.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're now at a point that with just the sheer price tag for the Ultimate Edition, and now for what they're doing with console gamers, I think we're now at that point of taking, like, are they about to pull the Netflix card and just really test? Now, granted, Netflix is fine because, again, I'll straight up say it, people who go with subscriptions kind of are a little bit stupid and just never go off their laurels and actually remove them.
Yeah.
Like, very, very few people will do that. So a lot of people right now, I've seen Reddit threads and stuff about this Game Pass increase, and they're all going, oh, this is bullshit, I'm going to get rid of it now. No, you're fucking not. Prove it. Because numbers seem to keep showing that doesn't happen. You just plumb forget about it. It's the same way that people just leave their Warcraft accounts on and just don't realize they're paying monthly for so long. Or a gym membership. It's a thing that happens all the time. So, like, I know as of, like, I end the show, I'm probably going to go onto the Xbox app and at least cancel it for the time being, and then if I figure that there's going to be a bunch of stuff again where I can jump back in, it's one click away, I can get right back in there, no big deal. But I think I'm at the point now that I need to stop just letting it go monthly when realizing that now my amount of time spent with it is dwindling, and honestly, the price tag is not worth just having it sit there anymore.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I was going to say, I got the Xbox for Starfield, right? Which was back in August. And for me, like, I've had the subscription because it's $13. I pay $13 a month for that. It's the same as like my Netflix or whatever. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, which isn't bad at all.
I don't touch it for months. I don't care. Like, I will let it sit, and it did sit because, like, you guys saw what I played after Starfield. I played like I played Baldur's Gate on my PlayStation. I played Rise of the Ronin. Like, I've not touched the Xbox, and I'm now going back because I'm like, I've now spent close to probably $120 this past year, more than that, just paying for a subscription that I'm not using. And it was fine with me because I was like, it's $10. I don't care. Now that it's going up that I'm paying 23, now I'm revisiting what I'm doing, right? Like, I might go Adam's route and just, hey, you know what? Xbox game came out, cool. I'll pay for that 1 month subscription, play that game, and then bounce out when I'm done. Like,
well, I mean, even looking at their list right now of what's, like, actually dated to come into Game Pass, like, unless you're interested in Flintlock, there ain't anything, like, really coming down the line for a while. So, you know, like, skipping a couple of months isn't a big deal right now. And again, if you want to come back, like, say in October when Call of Duty is coming around or other games, like, it's a click away. It doesn't take much. And I think that's what like a lot of people, they don't want to do it because, you know, they got to remember to turn it on and it's a hassle when in reality it's not, but, you know, let them cook. Like, I think it's at a point that these subscriptions are starting to get, as we figure it was going to do anyway, because it happened the same way with
I called it, by the way,
with all the video streaming services. It eventually gets to a point where you either have to pick and choose or you just have to drop and come back when you have a bunch of stuff you want to watch again.
Yeah. 100%.
And I think that's kind of where Game Pass is going to come, that maybe it's a thing that, you know, every quarter I'll turn it back on and just bum rush through a backlog when it's dead. Or even not even quarterly, just whenever there's a dead point, like December, there's fuck all coming out at this point as we're recording this episode. December, all right, I'll boot up Game Pass, and for 30 days, I can just rush through like 3-4 months of games that I haven't had a chance to play yet.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, you can go with that argument, like, oh, Netflix has so much stuff. I'm not subscribed to Netflix for all the, like, garbage, mediocre stuff that they have. I'm subscribed to Netflix for a couple shows, and I've got the service, I might as well check out these other things. I'm not gonna get Game Pass for Hello Kitty Big City, but hey, if I've got Xbox Game Pass anyways, might as well check it out. It doesn't cost me anything, but that's not gonna be subscription seller for me. I'm not going to buy it just because you have X amount of games. I'm going to buy it because there's quality games. And hey, I'll take advantage of the other ones while I'm there. But yeah.
This is going to make me even kind of look at it different. I'm in a slightly different boat where I get a lot of those Microsoft reward points and I pay attention to it, and you can earn free months of Game Pass Ultimate, and I'm paid up until like I think February 2026 or something ridiculous. Like I just keep getting enough. But every time I was playing, I was always paying attention to what game I was playing, because if it was like, if I go in and I just play one indie game and that indie game was $15, what am I doing? Because the cost, even though I didn't pay for Ultimate, if I had, like, it's giving me access to all this stuff. Why would I pay something that's worth $15 using an $18 subscription? I technically just paid more for a cheaper game. If I play like an amazing indie game like Celeste, for example, on Steam right now is $2.40 or something on the Steam Summer Sale.
Yeah, if you really want something bad enough, like especially if you play on PC, just gg.deals, search the game. You can find pretty good deals all the time and just keep an eye on it. It's like these days it's not hard to do.
Yeah, even if you do only play on console, like you can get Celeste usually for like, sure, it'll be like $7, $6, whatever, but you can get it on Xbox, Switch, or PlayStation 5 usually for like $7. So you don't need this subscription service. You can own the game as much as you own it digitally, but you own it, and like it's yours to play as much as you want. So if for some reason you're like me, you get distracted by backlog or other game or whatever, and it's like, oh, I didn't finish Celeste. Because the worst is if you start a game in Game Pass and then you come back to it next month and finish it. It's like, I just paid 2 months subscription for a game that's worth like on sale $7, which is, again, something I was aware of, but it wasn't like a huge deal because it's like, Game Pass is like $17. Now the fact that it's going to be 23, for most people, it's kind of like, all right, not only like what should I play, you have to make sure what you're playing is higher in value than the actual subscription. So you get Octopath Traveler 2 or Eidon Chronicles or something like that. Obviously, those games are like $60, $70 or whatever when they come out. Made sense to play it on Game Pass if you can finish it in that 1 month. But now also the stress of finishing it in that 1 month is going to go up, because if it takes you 2 months to beat a JRPG, you just ended up paying like $50-something of subscription, and you could have bought the game for like 60 or whatever and just owned it. So did you really save that much money?
Or in that case, like wait 6 months when it drops to potentially half off, and there you go.
Yeah, and you actually get it cheaper than if you had just done the subscription service. So it's like kind of what Game Pass is about is almost going away.
And that's the thing with Core, like that new Game Pass Core, is that you'd be playing old games. Well, great, but I could just go down to GameStop and I could get it for $10, right? Like,
yeah.
And especially
or
on the
Steam
PC
Summer
side
Sale,
of things,
or,
like,
yeah.
and we go back to the conversation we've had plenty of times before, but like with other streaming services like Netflix and stuff, like it's getting to the point that all of this stuff is now getting people back into piracy. And I'm noticing the trend. Like, I'm noticing just how much more prevalent it's being. Ever since, especially when Switch shut down Yuzu, you're starting to see, like, there is definitely a resurgence because people are getting real fucking fed up with how they're getting overpriced again. Now, granted, we've talked about this before, that, like, new game prices for, like, physical copies was inevitably going to go up. Like, it was inevitably going to happen. And we knew this with streaming services too, but now it's getting to a point again where it's, you have to start weighing just how much your money is paying for what's there. Sure, if you get it for 1 month and play Call of Duty when it comes out, yeah, you save like $60. That's great. But if you only play Call of Duty for the next 3 months, now you've paid for 3 months and you've still equaled out Call of Duty, but now in reality, like if you stop playing Call of Duty after a month, that's 2 months that you've paid for where you did nothing with it. And in Kaylan's case, like that's what happened, is that there was a bunch of months that you paid for and nothing came out of it. At least the price wasn't nearly that bad, so it doesn't hurt as much.
I didn't care.
But
it
at
was
23,
just that,
24, like 20, like I'm thinking like out loud, $25 a month if I wasn't using it, I'd be fucking pissed at myself.
Right?
100%.
Like, I was keeping it for $12, and like, I'd be downstairs and my kid wants to play the Bluey game, or we want to play Lego 2K. Like, cool, $12, whatever. If I don't use it in 1 month and I play with it next, cool. But yeah, $25 is really ridiculous. Like, and once again, they're upping the like. I don't think any of us have a problem with them upping the price. It's that we're getting less choice and being just railroaded into a higher price for things that not even I don't want. It's I cannot use, right? Like, my old console is not going to play games from Game Pass, and
I mean,
so like
PC.
I don't, whatever. Like, it's not going to play on my old PC. So, like, why am I paying for it, right? I'm getting less choice. And that's what my issue is. I want choice in it. Like, they should have gotten rid of Game Pass Ultimate. And it should have been, hey, there's a console version, it's $15 a month. There's a PC version, it's $15 a month. If you buy both, they'll communicate with each other. You're paying $30 for both, or paying $15 for each. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm trying to think of the cloud streaming, and with the exception of, like, the Steam Deck, there's not really, like, nobody is anyone using Microsoft, like,
On their phone? I
Game
don't
Pass? No,
think
like,
so. I have to imagine people aren't gaming with that like solely, and it's like really an emergency thing where you're really into one game and you want to keep playing it in bed, so you play on your phone. But I assume that is like really, really low. Because even on the
we're
Steam
still not
Deck,
at a point where it's prevalent enough that it would actually be worthwhile as like a common thing to do.
because
Yeah.
I tried playing Eastbound. Was it Eastward or Eastbound? That game? Eastward. I tried playing that on Game Pass on the like streaming because I was like, I had the game sire and I'm like, I'll just play through my phone, and I couldn't play that. I'm not gonna be playing something twitchy. I'm not gonna be playing something fast.
Yeah, you're playing Starfield on that.
No.
And also the Xbox app on the phone, as well on, you know, if you're going to install on Steam Deck, has actual remote play to the console. So you can just do what you do with the PlayStation, and you don't have to play in the cloud. You can just play from your console, and it actually runs better because you're not going through the internet. You're just going through your own network, which runs a lot better, like you probably see with the PlayStation Portal, Kaylan, right? Like, same idea. And just to give you guys some idea on some of the games that I've played on Game Pass and their current prices on the Steam Summer Sale, very, very quick. Frostpunk, which is on there, $3.89. Jurassic World Evolution 2, which is like a city builder Jurassic World, $6. And this is all Canadian, by the way, so it's even cheaper if it's US. Battlefield 2042, $7. Celeste, $2.59. Humankind, that new Civilization game that's made by Sega, $6. Like, these are all games that are on Game Pass, and I've played a bunch of them there. That's why I didn't rebuy them in the Steam Summer Sale. I've already played them, and yeah, sure, I got to play some of those day one, which is huge. But I mean, it doesn't like $25 whatever Canadian a month to keep up to play those day one versus just waiting, owning them, and paying $6 to own them. For 1 month of Game Pass, I could have bought 4 or 5 of those games, and it would have been the same price. And then there's no worry of like, gotta beat them all within 30 days because subscriptions again next month, it's another $25. Get your money's worth.
Yeah, the only way it makes sense is if it's the only thing you're doing. If you own multiple consoles, this almost makes no sense now.
Not at that price, no. It did in the beginning, but it's getting to the point where it's like, it's cheaper to just wait for the few games. Or if it's like, yeah, you really want to play a game day one, Black Ops 6, sure, that's going to be like an $80 game. You get Game Pass 1 month, you play it, you beat it, you unsubscribe. Like, if it's not important for you to own that game, you get your 1 month and you get it done. But you pay for 2 months, or you play that game for 3 months on Game Pass, you could have just bought it. It's the same price as 3 months is all probably the exact same price. Like,
it seems like the effective strategy for me at this point would be, and by the way, I can't believe I'm doing this, but I already canceled it. I just canceled my subscription right now, which I wasn't expecting to be doing. But the strategy now is, okay, hold out. There's probably at some point during the year, maybe 4 or 5 games at most that you'll be like super wanting to play day one on there. Just save up your backlog for a month until that game comes out. You buy it on that day. You get the subscription. You play that, and as soon as you're done, go ham on a couple other things you want to try and just have fun with it. It seems like that's now the strategy now. Like, unless, like I said, if you're only an Xbox gamer or if you're only a PC gamer through Xbox Game Pass and that's all you're doing, maybe it makes sense. But if you're like us who own every console, if you have a Switch, PS5, and an Xbox, man, there's no point. Like, it's almost made like, what's even the current price for PlayStation Extra right now?
Like the basic model?
No, not the basic, like the actual like one with the catalog.
Isn't it like $120 or something like that?
Let's see. PlayStation.
I'm seeing Canadian 155.
$154.99, so
154?
That's $12.99. That is well affordable, and granted, it's not all day one games, but you know what it is? Not $24.
But, and here's the caveat I was going to put, is that like nobody talks about PlayStation Extra because we've all kind of agreed that it's kind of not the best value, and Xbox has said, hey, we can meet you on that level, and now that's where it's at. right? Like,
so now do we start talking about extra being like, hey, like it doesn't have day one games, but you know what? For $12-13, there's some decent stuff they throw on there. Because every month they throw another set of like 10 games on there. Every time they do a month, I go, that's fucking cool that some people get to play that and not have to worry about spending money on it. Like there's always something that maybe it's not for me, but I go, that's fucking cool. Whereas with Game Pass, it's like, man, look at all this cool shit you're getting right off the bat. But now it's like, but it's double the price.
Yeah. Well, like it's not double the price because like the Ultimate was always there, but it's the for me it's that console aspect because like you're saying buy the subscription for a month. We know, and it's like it's not a secret on this podcast how slow I am at beating games because I don't have the time to dedicate. Like at this point, Game Pass doesn't make sense for me because I can't beat a game in a month, right? Like I don't have the time, and I'm not going to prioritize that. So what I'll do is I'll either just wait till it goes down in price and I'll just buy it, or if I want it that badly, I'll buy it day one. But Game Pass for me is now starting to seem less and less like something I need to get.
Yeah. Yeah, it's for you to have it at $23 or whatever it is. That doesn't You really want the new Gears of War? You really want the Indiana Jones game? Just wait or pick that individual game up day one. It'll take you 6 months to beat it anyways.
Yeah.
Like, and it's a much better deal for you at that point. I wonder if Xbox is also trying to get more people to spend money on the Xbox store because it's like, oh, well, now we have to go Ultimate. It's so expensive, you know, maybe people aren't really buying the games. This will weed out.
I don't think that'll really change much. No. Like if it does like pop the number up, we're talking like less than 5%.
Yeah, I'm a niche market for Xbox. Like it's not going to matter that much. It's more they've put too much money into Game Pass for them to just be like, no, let's pivot back to selling individual games. So I just think it's them just trying to squeeze it out, and I don't think it's going to backfire because like the article does say that most people are on Ultimate, but it's just like for me, like it doesn't make sense, and I'm going to bow out. So like I don't think this is going to be a detriment. I don't think this is going to be a death knell for Game Pass, but for me, it's
bringing up a conversation that we weren't having before, which is never a good sign.
It's gone from being the best deal in gaming to the best deal in gaming asterisks, right? Like
for me, even I never.
If you pick when you want to turn it on,
that's the asterisk. Like with conditions, like if you're A, B, C, or D.
Like at this point, now that I've shut it off because it expires now on the 18th of this month, I probably won't turn it on till mid-October now, at the earliest.
Like I'm like I would never thought I would say it where it's like, oh, once my free months that I've earned are gone, like I may not resubscribe. I may just like. Cool. Like I love like Forza Horizon, but I'm not going to get Game Pass for Forza Horizon. That's a game I play over many months. I love the concept of that game and always go back to it. I'll probably buy it. And I may not even buy it on the Xbox. I'd probably just buy it on my freaking PC because Xbox puts all their games day one on Steam. Might as well just do that. That way I get, you know, PC and a Steam Deck. Now, obviously console will make sense for a lot of people, but still, this may even make me, a huge Game Pass person, stop using it. Like after my free months are up, I may do the odd month, but I may not even resubscribe. I may just be like, all right, Xbox was a fun passion project for a few years. That was a fun time, and I may not even use it.
It's now giving me the feeling of less like something I'll come back to every month and more like, hey, this is like how, Chris, you and I go to the theater every time a Marvel movie comes in. It's like one of the few times we ever go to a movie theater now. Yeah. And now it's like, oh, when this big game comes out, I'll get a month subscription just so I can play that.
Yeah.
Well, I think we could all kind of agree that this is not at least for us the best move that we could hope for Game Pass. We'll have to see if it works out overall, but I don't think this is a good day for Xbox.
I mean, the only way it gets better is if they just put better and more games on it to make it more worthwhile. But as it stands right now, like if this price is what it is with the same quality and quantity that we've been getting in the last like 24 months, it ain't. It just ain't.
No. If it was based on that, absolutely not.
Yeah. But with that, we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for sticking around with us. If you'd like that, catch our episode every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Like and subscribe. Let us know, are you going to be canceling your Game Pass subscription, or you think this is all okay? We'd love to hear from you. And if you want to join our other groups of friends and our fans, you can find us at linktr.ee/PixelPlay podcast. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye for now.